Hey guys, welcome to Q&A Wednesday on Thursday night. I'm a little bit late in answering your questions. I tried to do this video twice last night, but YouTube kept timing me out, so after about 30 minutes of my life gone, I decided to take a break and try it again tonight. So let's hope this works. So guys, I got a bunch of questions from you, and I'm going to try to answer them as quickly as possible, but give quality answers so I can help you guys out. So let's get rolling, guys. The first question is from Corsiach. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing any of these names. He says, I have no access to a reverse hyper machine. What exercises would you do in its place? There are two exercises I would recommend that you can probably do at most gyms. The first one is a pull through. You just kind of get your legs apart, and then you get a cable machine with a rope, and you can pull it through between your legs and stand up. That is a good quality alternative to the reverse hyper machine, a rope pull through or whatever. You can also do Dimmel deadlifts. Dimmel deadlifts, you'll have to search for them on YouTube. They're generally a higher rep deadlift variation, and they're excellent replacement for reverse hyper. So I would try either reverse hypers or Dimmel deadlifts. Both of those are good choices. Give them both a try, see what you think. Next question is from Kevin Hootie. He says, what are your thoughts on HST training? HST training is a well thought out program. It's an effective program. I don't believe in magic training systems. When I look at workout programs, I look to see, do they include a quality amount of exercise choices? Are they well thought out? Who created them? So on and so forth. And, it's a solid program. It'll work if you work it. My only advice is that if you're going to make a switch to a new program, give it a few weeks to get used to the program, and then, give it an appropriate amount of time to run it. Run it, for 8 to 12 weeks or whatever. Don't just run it for a week or two and say, wow, this isn't for me. I'm going to dump it. If you get into a new program like HST, and you're not comfortable with something, make minor changes. You don't have to stick by the letter of the law with the program, because there are no magic programs. So when you start a new program, be prepared to make minor changes if needed, and you might need to do some of that in HST. But anyway, it's a good program. It's a quality program. If you work it hard, it will yield good results. So guys, the next question is from John Paul. He says, I'm trying to use the stretch reflex at the bottom of my squat, and ever since I started doing that, I'm having easier time getting out of the bottom of the movement. But now I've been having pain in my calves, so on and so forth. He's asking what could be causing this. He goes on to say, well, actually, the pain is right above my ankle. Well, my guess, without seeing a video, is that there's a good chance you're going too deep. Squats aren't a depth contest. Some people are over-focused on ass to grass squats. And really, once you hit parallel or a couple inches below parallel, that's about as deep as you need to go. I don't know I haven't seen your squatting video, so I'm just guessing, but I'm guessing there's a chance you might be going too low in your squats. So take a video of your squats, watch your squats. If they're too low, bring them up a little bit. There's also a good chance that there could also be something else funky going on with your knees. They could be too far in. They could be too far out. Your feet could be too far in. Your feet could be too far out. Your feet angle and your knee angle have to be about the same. There could be something funky with your setup, or there could be something funky with your upper body could be loose, and when you come up out of the hole, you could be getting forward, placing more stress on your joints, your knees, your hips, your ankles, so on and so forth. So first thing I want you to do is just make sure you're not squatting too deeply. The second thing I want you to do is record a video of your squats and let me take a look at it. There's a link below here to a Q&A. You can post that video. I'll look at your squats, see if there's any form flaws we can fix, and we can go from there. The next question is from Peter's Game Channel. He says, does this sound like a good split for strength and muscle? Mainly strength, he says. Day 1 bench, day 2 squat, day 3 deadlift, day 4 rest and repeat. So he's basically looking at a 3-day on, 1-day off program. I do not like that. I do not like that for strength, and I do not like that for muscle building. I've tried one of those. It works fine initially, But if you're actually maximizing every set and pushing these sets for progression, for me, after about 8 weeks, even when I was in my 20s and still, feeling great and young and unstoppable, that type of program still started to beat me up after like 6 to 8 weeks. So, can you run it? Yes. You just have to be really aware of how your body is handling it, and rest when you need to rest. Take a week off when you need to take a week off. Structure an extra rest days when you need to do so. But would I recommend anybody run it? No. Most guys just want to train too darn much. And you really don't need to train more than 4 days a week. You really don't. If you're obsessive and you want to train on a 5-day split or whatever, go ahead. It's not going to kill you. Is it needed for most people? No, it's just not needed. If you're going to do if you want to train 4 days a week, if you want to do this type of rotation, I would maximize it 4 days a week and do day 1 bench, day 2 squats, day 1 bench, off, day 2 squats, off, day 3 deadlifts, day 4 bench. Work like 1 on, 1 off, 1 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off, and rotate, or 1 on, 1 off, or whatever. There's a million ways you could do it, but anyway, I'm just talking myself into circles on this question. Do I recommend 3 days on, 1 day off for strength? No, I do not. Pare down the routine a little bit, focus on progressive overload, and you will be fine. You don't need to train more than 4 days a week. Next question is from Salman Kassan. He says, does carb cycling work, and if so, how effective? Yes, carb cycling works. It's been around forever. There's 2 ways of looking at carb cycling: when you're bulking and when you're cutting. Let's look at bulking first. If you're a beginner and you haven't experienced much in the way of strength and muscle building gains or muscle mass gains, I wouldn't do carb cycling. I would just run a consistent amount of calories, because your body is growing rapidly and you're recovering on your days off. I just want you to get the food in. Once you reach that intermediate stage on a bulk, gains slow dramatically. Okay, they slow down, and carb cycling might be more beneficial because you're not gaining rapidly. You can kind of have a bigger day and then a medium day and then just a lower calorie day or a lower carb day. So you are making progress. The key thing is you are making progress. You're getting in your calories, so it might be more worthwhile to cycle calories during an intermediate bulk, because you're not gaining as rapidly. It's worth a try. I don't know if it's more effective, but it's worth a try. The key thing, though, is if you're going to cycle calories on a bulk, you have to make sure the average is about right where you want it for a lean bulk, 300-400 calories above maintenance. So if you're going to cycle calories and carbs on a bulk, you're going to have a high day, you're going to have a medium day, and you're going to have a low day. The medium day, let's just say your maintenance level is 3,000 calories. Your medium day will be about 3,300 calories. Your low day will be your maintenance, 3,000, and your high day will be 3,600. So those will even out to 3,300 or 300 calories over your maintenance level, which is a reasonable level to start a lean bulk at. Now you can structure those differently. You can structure them really crazy. You can do a low day, 2 medium days, and a high day, as long as they equal out to 3,300 calories per day per week, or 300, 3,300 in our average, or 300 calories above maintenance level on the average. You're fine. Now on a cut, if you want to lose fat, you can do carb cycling, or you can just do a straight cut. A straight cut is kind of like where you eat the same amount of calories 6 days a week, and then on the 7th day you might have a refeed day where you bump it a little bit. Carb cycling, you have a low, medium, and high calorie day, and it's worth a shot. It might help. Keep your metabolism confused a little bit. It might help you burn a little more fat. I don't know. Try it out. Try it out. It could be worthwhile. One of the main benefits of carb cycling on a cut is that you do get a higher carb and higher calorie day, and that can be really beneficial just from a mental standpoint. So, if you have one of these crazy schedules where you got kids' birthdays, or you got school functions, or whatever you got going on, and you need to eat a little bit more once or twice a week, then carb cycling might be beneficial as well. So give it a try on a cut. It's not going to be magic. The real magic is just sticking with the plan and giving it time. And the real magic is always adjusting from the plan. Setting a plan is only a starting point, whether it's carb cycling or straight calories. Setting a plan is only a starting point. It's the adjustments you make after that fact that are really, really the key. All right, guys, we're on the second page here, and let's roll on. This one's from Big Tobus. He says, how to get lost strength and size back after a cut without immediately getting fat. Well, here's what the mistake most guys make when they come off a cut. They're on a cut, they're eating 2,300 calories a day, and they want to bulk. So they figure, hey, my maintenance level is 3,000 calories, so I'm going to go to 3,300, so it's like 1,100 calories more than they're eating on the cut. So they'll end the cut, and they'll immediately add 1,100 calories per day. And they'll just bump it up, and they'll suck in a bunch of water. They'll just make a huge jump. What I recommend doing is adding about 200 calories every 10 days to 14 days after your cut's done. Just slowly start to dial those calories up and watch what the scale does. What you're trying to do here is really find your maintenance level, or find a calorie level where you can cruise at. So say you're at 2,300 calories a day on a cut, and you decide you want to go to a bulk. Run 2,500 for 10 days, 10 to 14 days. Watch the scale, and then if you're still losing weight, bump it up to about 2,700. Run that for a couple of weeks. Watch the scale. You want to find a level where you're just cruising, for a couple of weeks, not gaining weight. Once you reach that level, I would bump your lean bulk up. If you're afraid of getting fat, bump it up by about 300 calories above that maintenance level. So that's how I would do it, guys. That's how I would do it. If you're eating only about 300 calories above maintenance, it's going to be really hard to get fat, especially if you're eating mostly clean foods, guys. Mostly good, healthy, nutritious foods. All right, guys, the next question is from Later Fam. He says, hey, Bearded Beast of Dulac, I picked up a groin injury in my right leg squatting as a beginner. How can I recover from this and prevent it from the future? How can you recover? Well, the first thing you do is when you are squatting, you got to take it slow. You got to build up slow, take a lot of warm-ups. At any point during your warm-ups or working sets, things don't feel right, shut it down. Don't push it. This recovery, God knows what type of injury you have or how long it's going to take to recover. You got to take your time. You got to listen to what your body is saying. So you want to do a few warm-ups. You want to test it out. If it feels all right, just add a little bit of weight and do the reps you can. If that feels all right, then continue on with your workout. If it doesn't feel right, shut your workouts down. That's key. Now, how to prevent it in the future? Well, we talked about this earlier in the video. You need to get a video of your squat form, and you need to have somebody take a look at it. If you are a beginner and you're picking up groin injuries in your squat, there is a good chance your form needs some fixing. So make a video, pop it in the link below to my forum Q&A. We got a bunch of guys over there who know their stuff as far as squats. I'll take a look, see if there's anything wrong with your squat form that we can fix, so we can help prevent future injuries. It's key, it's critical to have somebody that knows how to squat to look at your squat form, boys and girls. All right, guys, the next question is from Nasty Nate. He said, is there a reason why your grip would be worse in a rack pull than from the floor? He says, I pulled 615 for 4 reps from the floor, but tried to pull 605 from the rack and couldn't get 1 rep. Basically, he's saying rack pulls are a lot harder for him than floor pulls. This, believe it or not, is a common thing. When I first started the low rack pulls, they were much harder than my deadlift. It's a different leverage position. It's a different starting position. And I know a lot of guys that rush out to try low rack pulls, and they get frustrated because they think they should be stronger in a low rack pull position when, in fact, they're actually weaker. That can be normal. That can be normal depending on you and your strengths and weaknesses. Don't get frustrated. like I said, when I started doing them, I was really weak, but I worked the heck out of low rack pulls, and they became my strong point. So don't be overly concerned that you're weaker from a low rack pull position. Just keep working it, get as strong as you can on it. Things will work out good in the end. All right, guys, the next question is from Craig Ripley. He says, how can a guy strengthen his back when he has problems with easily overtraining it, specifically the lower back? All right, here's what I recommend if your lower back is easily overtrained. When it comes to deadlifting, never deadlift over 90%. Boys and girls, never deadlift over 90%. It's not needed. The second thing is cut your volume down on deadlifts. You really don't need to do more than a couple sets of 3 reps or a couple sets of 5 reps each week on the deadlift. Take some time, do these short brief little sets, work on form, slowly build strength over time as you can. Add 5 pounds on when things feel good. Don't feel pressure to rush out and add 150 pounds on your deadlift the first year. Cut down your volume a little bit. Go to 2 sets by 3 or 2 sets by 5 a week. Work on your form, and then add 5 pounds when you feel comfortable. So cut that volume down, work on form. Don't do a lot of deadlift volume, and for the love of Pete, don't deadlift over 90% of your 1 rep max. That's a good way to hurt your lower back. So that's a starter. The next thing I want you to do is, if your lower back's still taking a beating, you need to make sure you're not doing too much squatting per week. I want you to squat, but I don't want you to be doing 15 sets a week, like on one of these squat programs like Strong Lifts or whatever. If your lower back's taking a beating, you might have to cut your squat volume down a little bit just to give it a little bit of a break. You also, as I've said before, and I'm going to say it again, you need to take a video of your squats and your deadlift form. This is another critical part of the equation. Take a video of your squat and deadlift form and let me take a look. You can put the video below in my Q&A. It's linked below. Many times, if your lower back's taking a beating on deadlifts, it is because your form is lacking. A lot of guys pull with their hips high because they don't know how to set up properly, and that's going to kill their lower back. So this could be part of the equation. I also want you, if you're doing barbell rows, to set the bar down after each rep, in between each rep, just for a split second. This will take some pressure off the lower back. It's called a pendley row variation, okay? So instead of hanging over the bar with the bar off the ground, or hanging over with the bar off the ground on barbell rows, set it down between each rep for a split second, and then pull again, and then pull again. Set it down. That'll that'll give your lower back a little bit of a break for a few seconds. So that's what I recommend if you're having lower back issues. Reduce your deadlift volume. Never train above 90%. If your lower back's still taking a beating, cut your squat volume down a little bit, and get videos of your squats and deadlifts so we can make sure you're not beating the crap out of your lower back. And finally, change your barbell rows over to pendley rows, where you set each rep down for a split second in between reps. Set the bar down. All right, guys, moving on here to Brian Grant. He said, if I eat in a calorie surplus on the days that I work out and either maintain or eat at a calorie deficit on days I don't work out, should I still be able to make gains and put on less fat? I don't recommend doing that, guys. Guys, when your muscles are building on the days off, okay? Your muscles are building on the days off. Don't eat less on the days you don't work out. Just because you're not lifting doesn't mean your muscles are recovering, so you need the same amount of food. The only thing that's going to get you fat on a bulk is eating way too much junk or eating way too many calories. Most guys on a bulk don't monitor their diets precisely enough. They could be guessing, they could be overeating, so on and so forth. So if you don't want to get fat on a bulk, don't be screwing around with your calories on off days. Get your calories in so you can recover and grow. Just make sure you're eating 80 to 90% clean foods, and that your calories are where they need to be, for your goals. So that's what I recommend. Don't undereat on off days. I don't like this at all, because your calories are going to even out if you're eating like 3,000 calories on workout days and 2,500 on non-workout days, you're going to bring the average down. It's going to be closer to your maintenance level, and it's really not going to be conducive to muscle building. I just don't like it at all. All right, guys, the next question is from Jafet Pinion 186. He says, "Hey Steve, my question is about high calves." Excuse me. Is there anything to make them grow without the aid of gear? Keep in mind I'm talking about high calves. To make them grow, well, high calves or low calves or whatever, you can't change the genetics of the look of the calf muscle. So no, there is nothing you can do to change the genetic look of a calf muscle. Absolutely, there is a lot you can do to make it grow. But no, you can't change the look of high calves. It is what it is. So just make them as big as possible. If you flesh out that calf muscle, it'll look even more impressive compared to that small, slender ankle. So just focus on getting your calves as strong as possible. Most people that train their calves train them wimpy guys. They don't get them as strong as possible. So just try to get those calves as strong as humanly possible. All right, guys, the next question is from the J-Meg. He says, "What is your favorite accessory exercise for squats, bench, deadlift, and why?" All right, let's start with deadlift. I got my deadlift close to 770, 780, 790, 800 this year. Deadlifts are my favorite exercise, and my favorite accessory lift for the deadlift is the lower high rack pull and power shrug combination. You set the bar on the low rack pull 3 to 5 inches off the ground, or on a high rack pull right above the knee, and you do heavy deadlifts, but then you finish off with a power shrug. I love the rack pull and power shrug combination as an accessory movement for the deadlift. I also love power shrugs, heavy with more heavies, heavy power shrugs as an accessory for the deadlift. I want you to get those traps as strong as possible. Get those traps comfortable holding 600-700 pounds, and that will only be a good thing for your deadlift. The stronger your back is, the more capable you will be over time of being able to pull more weight. So you want to get every muscle in your back as strong as possible, from your traps down to the bottom of your lower back. For bench press, my favorite accessory work, my personal, would be overloading. A slingshot. I use slingshot in combination with chains. You could use it, you could do it that way, or you could just do a regular slingshot or any other bench press assistance device. Overloading the top of my bench has worked wonders. I've always been a crappy bencher, and I've struggled. Last year I struggled to get much more than 400 with the slingshot, but I really pushed without the slingshot, but I really pushed the slingshot and the use of chains, and I got the overload, the top end, up to around 500 pounds. So my favorite assistance exercise for bench press is any way you can overload it at the top, and the easiest way is a slingshot. So I would look into checking out a Mark Bell slingshot bench press assistance device. For the squats, I'm changing my mind on this, and I'm coming around, and I wrote an article on Muscle and Strength about pause squats. But I think one of the best things you can do, or two of the best things you can do to improve your squats is number one, do some pause squats. Do a couple sets of pause squats a week. They are brutal. When you get in the hole, just count 1,001 and come back up. They are brutal. They're going to leave you with a lot of muscle soreness, and I think they're a great assistance work for heavy squats. I also want, one of my pet peeves in squatting is strength programs where folks do not get their quads as strong as humanly possible. I would love to see you just do a crap ton of heavy leg presses, a lot of leg press reps, get those quads as strong as possible. Big quads and a lot of squat volume, a lot of pause squat volume is really the way to go for the squats. Excuse me, my mouth is getting dry, guys. All right, the next question is from InHim777. My chest is wimpy, meaning with bench press I can't overreach. It just doesn't work. I have no endurance or anything over 12 reps. Never improves. Under 5, it just feels like I'm tore up in a bad way. 5 to 8 is rep range is best for me. We're going forward here. It still doesn't improve, but I changed the angle. He's trying to do a lot of things here, and he's trying to improve his chest strength. You know, he's wondering, his chest strength is wimpy. It has no endurance. Guys, when you're dealing with a stubborn muscle group, you like the chest or whatever, you really need to boil it down to simple progression. Okay, on your bench, you're going to have whatever type of programming you're going to have. Say you're doing a split. You're doing 3 sets of bench, 3 sets of this, 3 sets of bench, 3 sets of dumbbell incline presses, and 3 sets of whatever. You really don't be obsessed with the minutia, changing angles. Oh, I have no endurance. You know, you're talking yourself out of your game here. I have crappy endurance. My chest is weak. I can't find the right angle. So on and so forth. Focus on taking every set you're doing for the bench presses or every set you're doing for chest, and try to add at least one rep on that set every week. Say you're doing 4 sets of bench presses with a given weight. Try to add at least just 1 rep on all those 4 sets. So if you do 10, 10, 10, and 10, you did 40 total reps last week, try to do 41 this week. Next week, try to do 42. Next week, try to do 43. Push each set for as many reps as possible. Try to add more reps on there. Don't worry about all what you can't do. Don't worry. We all start weak. We all start from a crappy place. Focus on what you can do, and that's trying to beat each set by 1 rep every workout. Focus on those small increases. That is the way forward. If you do this over time, your chest endurance is going to improve, your chest strength is going to improve, your chest size is going to improve, and all this stuff will take care of itself. So just focus on the small increases. Trust me, it's magic. It'll change everything. Just be patient. That's all you got to do is be patient and try to get 1 more rep every workout. All right, guys. He also says he'd like a list of the questions in the description box, and I've thought about that, and I will be doing that, guys. This is kind of a new thing for me, so I'm trying to work out the best way to do it. So I do apologize. Next question is from Stricken Big Ed. He says, I'm having difficulty eliminating a little bit of rounding from the very bottom of my spine when I deadlift. I can get into a good starting position, but as soon as I start to pull, my back rounds, and my lumbar region, it sort of looks like a butt wing. Okay. I have seen a billion deadlift videos. And when the lower back rounds right out of the top, usually it's a major form flaw. Okay? Usually it's a major form flaw. Sometimes the shoulders are too far over the bar, or the hips are starting too high, or you're starting too far away from the bar, or you're starting with arms bent. There's a million things that could be wrong with your deadlift, but I can guarantee if your back is rounding after the initial pull, you're probably starting with your hips too high, or you're probably starting with any number of other major form flaws. So, I've said this a million times in this video, I'm going to say it 1,000,001. You need to take a video. It's hard, it's impossible for any seasoned lifter like myself to find out exactly what is causing this, but I can tell you this. If you take a video and you post it on the Q&A link below, I'll know immediately what's going on. I've seen a million deadlift videos. I can squat form flaws in a heartbeat, and I can probably give you 2-3 pointers right out of the gate to fix that. Just in this video, I want you to concentrate on getting your shoulders as upright as possible before you pull. You can have your upper back rounded. That's okay. You just want to get as upright as possible. When you start to pull, think about standing up. Think about driving your head up, okay? Think about driving your head up. Before you start that rep, grab the bar, get your feet in a good position, bring your hips up, and then sink them down to a natural leverage position and try to stand up. A lot of guys will get in a position where they're grabbing the bar and they'll start with their hips too high and they'll start to pull. And when your form is out of whack and you start to pull, your body's going to do crazy things. Usually the hips will come up. The hips aren't going to come down when you start to pull something off the ground. The hips are generally going to come up when something's out of whack. So Make a video, post it below, and try the few tips I just gave you. Hopefully they will help. The next question is from Nain Kanwar. He says, struggle going up the weights in my squats. Currently running 5x5 by Blaha and exercises to strengthen abs and core. Also, I find myself to be really, really stiff tight these days, and it takes a long time warming up and stretching. Why is this? Any suggestions? The stiffness and the tightness could be from squatting frequently. That's likely just, I'm assuming it's not unusual stiffness, and that's a muscle stiffness. If you're experiencing muscle stiffness from squatting frequently, it's just part of the deal. You either have to go to a lower frequency, like an upper-lower routine where you're squatting less frequently, or a split. But really, I don't recommend changing programs. If you have stiffness or muscle soreness, just warm up. It'll get better over time. Be patient. You're just starting out. Don't worry about that stiffness or soreness. Just stick with it. It will improve over time. You're having problems going up in weights in your squats. Well, that could be from a few things. Usually the likely candidate is diet. Are you eating enough food? Are you eating enough food so you can recover, let those muscles recover and build? I see way too many guys not eating enough food. They're so paranoid about getting fat, like it's that easy to get fat eating good, healthy, clean, nutritious foods. So I would look at your diet as well. I'm not trying to downplay the situation, but diet plays a role in this. And the fact that you're also not recovering very quickly tells me that you might need more water, you might need more food, so on and so forth. So I would take a strong look at your diet. If you need me to look at your diet or your calorie intake, again, my Q&A is below. Come on over, tell me what you eat on a daily basis. Tell me your height, weight, age, all that good stuff, and I'll tell you if I think you need to eat more. Another issue with my squats aren't going up enough is impatience. And I'm not saying necessarily the person posting this question is impatient, but a lot of guys expect to bounce right up to 350 in the squats after 6 months. Focus on adding that little rep every week, that rep or that couple of pounds every week or whatever. Just focus on the small changes. If it takes 2 to 3 weeks to add 5 pounds of the squat, so what? You're still making good progress. If you only add 5 pounds of the squat every 3 weeks, over the course of a year, you're adding 85 pounds to your squat. Over the course of 3 years, you've added 245 pounds to your squat, and you're pretty darn strong. So just be patient. Focus on those small increases. All right, guys, the next question is from Alan Hale. He says, was wondering if 4 days on, 3 days off would make a difference in the long run. Currently in college, pretty scattered, and fitting in workouts and studying is difficult. Is there any disadvantage of working out 4 days in a row and having 3 days off? No. You can do that, but I recommend eating. I recommend eating, because that's a tough schedule. I don't know if you're doing a split or a full body workout. If you're a split, you can do the 4 days on, 3 days off, and just get plenty of rest. If you're doing like a full body workout, or if you're doing an upper-lower workout, you might want to do during those 4 days upper-lower break upper 1 week, and then the next week lower upper break lower upper break lower. So you're doing 3 workouts a week on an upper-lower split, but you're just alternating it. You're doing 2 days on, 1 day off, 1 day on, and then 3 days off. Does that make sense? If you're doing an upper-lower split, you can train 3 days a week and just cycle your workout days. If you're doing a split, yes, you can do it that way. Just eat plenty of food and make sure you're maximizing your recovery. Next question, guys, excuse me, is from Enio. He says, I'm recovering from an injury, not gym related. I'm training for 2 years, but I didn't train seriously. This time I want to do it right and start with compound movements. What kind of training program do you recommend for a beginner? Knowing that there's a lot of work on my technique, I can train 3 times a week. Go to muscleandstrength.com, and search out the Muscle and Strength Full Body Workout. Muscle and Strength Full Body Workout. You can find my author page on muscleandstrength.com. My name is Steve Shaw, S-H-A-W. The Muscle and Strength Beginner Full Body Workout, Muscle and Strength Full Body Workout will serve you well. That's a good program that I recommend. So muscleandstrength.com, and the program's called Muscle and Strength Full Body Workout. It's under my name, Steve Shaw. You can find it on muscleandstrength.com, or you can search the Googles for my name, Steve Shaw, along with the Muscle and Strength Full Body Workout. If you can't find it, go over to my Q&A. Here we go again. It's right below, guys. And I'll post you up the link. All right, guys, 2 more questions. Next question is from Terry Tasello. He says, "Hey, Steve, I love all your articles and videos." Thank you, Terry. I appreciate it. I was wondering what your thoughts are on protein shakes, before, during, or after weight training or cardio. Also, your thoughts on pre, post-workout carbs, such as types and amounts. Good question. You know, you have 2 types of things. Look, I'm not the type of guy that wants to look at the minimum I can do. You know, like some guys will say you only need 150 grams minimum of protein per day, and you don't really need BCAAs and all this kind of stuff. I'm not a minimum guy, okay? I'm a guy that's shooting to be as big as strong as possible, so I want a little padding, I want a little extra. So I'm always cautious to drink a little more add a little more protein, maybe add BCAAs, that type of stuff. It's not going to kill you. I'll leave the debates about BCAAs to the skinny guys. Let me just tell you that there's no harm in taking BCAAs if you want to. They're just a food supplement. They're not going to kill you, or they're not a scam. They're just a food supplement, kids. So anyway, don't let me get off on a tangent here. But when it comes to protein powder, I don't eat a lot, so I usually sip on a protein shake or BCAAs during my workout. You know, if I want something a little bit different, or with a little bit different of a flavor. And I love to take a protein shake after I work out. I'm going to drink anyway after I'm done working out, okay, because I'm dehydrated, I'm thirsty. So I like to get some protein in. So I'll sip on something during my workout. It could be BCAAs or protein powder. And you know, it's usually highly diluted. I don't want a really thick, you know, shake when I'm training. It's usually more diluted, like 3/4 of a scoop of protein in like 24 ounces of water. But I do have protein shake. I sip on a protein shake or BCAAs during a workout, and then I immediately have one after the workout because I'm getting hydrated anyway, so I want some protein. You know, as far as you know, and cardio too. Usually I'll have a protein shake after cardio because I got to get in my protein anyway, and I'm hydrating. So when I'm hydrating, I like to throw some protein in there, a little extra protein, just to get my protein, reach my protein goals for the day. You know, as far as post-workout carbs, I want you to use your instincts here. When you're done working out, you're usually what? You're usually hungry. Okay, you're usually hungry. So what I would do after a hard workout is I wanted something convenient. I would do a protein shake, and I would use it. Today, you know, in the modern world, a lot of guys are using Pop-Tarts. I would eat like the cherry pies. I would have like a protein shake and a cherry pie, or you could do a protein shake and a Pop-Tart. Or if you want to be more nutritious, you could do you know, protein shake and a banana or something like that. You know, I don't really personally like to gag down complex carbs immediately after a workout. It's just you know, I'm just still recovering. So my recommendation, if you're like me, is just to have a protein shake post-workout and a simple carb like a Pop-Tart. You could also go with a protein bar because they usually have some simple carbs in them. They're actually pretty tasty. There's protein brownies too, or a Pop-Tart or a Little Debbie snack cake or whatever. You know, don't go overboard. But I just like to get some simple carbs and some protein in my system after I work out, not because I'm OCD and think I'll lose gains or anything, but just because I'm hungry and thirsty, kids, and you should eat when you're hungry and thirsty, kids. So after that, about an hour after that, I'll have a really, really good, healthy, nutritious meal with my vegetables, my protons, and all that kind of good stuff. Last question, guys, is from Goran Coleman. Please share your thoughts about reverse hyper exercise and what would be the best way to use it regarding sets and reps and using it before and after workout for decompression of the lower back. I don't know anything about decompression of the lower back, guys. I'm sorry I can't answer that question. I'm just a meathead with rocks in my brain. I don't decompress anything. I sometimes stretch and try to crack my spine, but that's about all I do. Reverse hyper as far as sets and reps, you know, I've never really used the machine, but I would just stick with 6 to 8 reps and see how that feels, and if you feel you need more reps per set, go with that. So guys, that is all the questions, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch this long video. I appreciate you taking the time to submit your questions. If you have any follow-up questions in this video, again, there is a Q&A, my Q&A below. It's on a forum. Come on over, ask me any questions you want. I'd be glad to help. If you need form help, and this is a recurring theme, you know, a lot of guys are like, why is my squat screwed up? Why are my deadlifts screwed up? Why am I getting beat up? Why do I have a groin injury? Why does my back hurt? You need somebody to take a look at your form, guys. That is really crucial. So get a video camera, have somebody video you on a moderately heavy squat, not a light squat or deadlift, because I can't really check your form if you're going way too light. So post that video. No one on my forum is going to make fun of you. We are there to train seriously and help you guys reach your goals. So get your videos over, post them on the Q&A. I'll help you out. So guys, thanks as always for watching. If you have any questions or comments on strength training, muscle building, diet, nutrition, supplementation, or motivation, post them in the link below to my Q&A. And guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.